Well, good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Dan Stockwell, the DALMAC Director, and I'm very happy that you joined us this evening to attend this second webinar of the season. This webinar will be focused on some information about what the tour is like, and we're going to look at some steps you need to think about in terms of preparation for the tour. Basically asking the question, are you ready for DALMAC? And we're going to give you an overview of the key information you need to know. I always like to point out that the best source of information about the tour is at dalmac.org, where you will find links to the writer's handbook. You can see links to the actual maps that will be used. Now, I'll tell you that those are subject to change, but you can get all kinds of information by looking at the website and seeing the kinds of details that we have there for you. So let's talk first about training. I went for a ride today, 19 miles on a Tri-County Bike Association ride. Had a really good time, and there was a bit of a headwind, but we did okay. Basically, if you are planning to do any of the routes on DALMAC, you need to start about now. It typically takes about 3 months of training to be ready. You should aim for riding at least 4 days a week at the start. It's important to do that. And as we often point out, go for the time in the saddle, because the thing that wears out probably the fastest on the tour is your seat. And that's kind of a constraint that a lot of people have. So putting time on the saddle is almost more important than the distance. So you can go a little easier pace, but be sure to spend that time in the saddle. Ride a steady and comfortable pace, keeping in mind that you're going to be riding 6 to 8 hours a day during the tour. So you don't really need to do breakneck speeds. We have well laid out routes on good roads, but you need to be able to finish that day. As you increase the amount of time you're spending in the saddle, then you should start increasing your speed. The sag line, which is the line behind which we no longer support riders, is calibrated to 12 to 15 miles per hour. So that means that if you take an average pace up the route at 12 miles per hour, you will be on a good pace and receive all the services from the SAG drivers. When you're training, vary your terrain. Look at get some hills to climb, do some downhills to get used to higher speeds and braking. Keep in mind that in the northern part of the route, there are some pretty substantial hills, both up and down, and you want to be able to manage those. Some of the more challenging times I've spent on a bike is going down some hills and not necessarily happy with the speed because it's pretty darn fast, particularly some of those big hills up north. I like to do, and I think it's an important thing to do, to also do some light weight training and stretching in your routine so that you have an opportunity to strengthen your upper body, because that's as well something you're going to use in terms of steering the bicycle, picking the bike up, other kinds of things that require upper body strength. And do some arm, wrist exercises, because you're going to be gripping those handlebars a lot, and do some stretching as well to get yourself going. About a month away from the tour, you should start doing some longer rides, some endurance kind of rides, along the lines of 40 to 50 miles, at least 2 times a week, if you can fit it in, because it's important to be able to pace yourself and know that mentally I can ride 50 miles, because that's kind of the benchmark for the shortest routes on the tour. The longer days are upwards of 65 to 70 miles. But if you're doing 50 miles 2-3 times a week, I think you'll be okay. Go out and ride in a bad weather day. We don't guarantee anything regarding the weather that you're going to encounter. We've had really good luck the last couple of years with having some very nice weather there at the end of August and early September. but you never know. We've had some years where it's been very cold and rainy, but the ride does go on. And if you want to participate, it's a good idea to purposely go out and ride, test your gear, test your stamina when you're riding a bike out in less than perfect weather conditions, and know how to handle the bike on roads that could be slick from a little bit of water on them. We hope there's no snow, although anything's possible in Michigan. We'll see. So some training resources for you, some training rides that we recommend. One is the TCBA club rides. There's a calendar on the TCBA website, and the ride that I led today was posted on that calendar. And it's a good idea to go look at that and join some rides. There are rides for all capabilities, from riders who are going 10 to 12 miles an hour, all the way up to 18 to 20 miles an hour for some riders. Go find a ride that suits you. They are occurring now all the way through the end of summer, and it's a good idea to join those group rides, not only for the practice and the exercise, but also to get to know some other riders and to have a little fun social time, because the motto of Tri-County Bike Association is fun and safe social riding. The League of Michigan Bicyclists, LMB, their ride calendar shows organized rides all around Michigan. Those are typically anywhere from a day-long ride to a multi-day tour that they have access to. Strongly recommend you look at LMB's ride calendar. We support LMB strongly with our tour, and we would recommend you do that. Of course, you can always create your own ride using Ride with GPS. That's the preferred and the electronic system that we use on the tour for navigation and planning our routes. And if you're a member of Tri-County Bicycle Association, you can get a free membership for the Ride with GPS, which is a really nice thing, because then you can go and plan your own routes. You can navigate with that on your computer, or you lay it out on your computer, and then use your phone or a GPS to ride the route that you've just created. Michigan Trails and Greenway Alliance, they publish a wonderful trails book that is available, and you can get it for free at any Michigan entry rest station. So like down south of here in near Coldwater, there's a Michigan rest area, and you can go in there and find one. There's also one up north, just north of Clare, where you can pick that up. Some bike shops also carry those, and I recommend that. If you're interested in doing trail rides, that's a good one to a resource for you to lay out some nice trail riding. So equipment, in terms of getting your body ready, is very, very important, but it's also very important for you to have the right equipment. You don't need to spend a lot of money to have a good equipment. But it's really important that you get quality kinds of bicycles. I would recommend that you go to your local bike shop, ask them for what they would consider to be a suitable bike at a price point that you're comfortable with if you don't already have a bike or you're looking at upgrading and getting a new bike. I also highly recommend, if you live in the Lansing area, the Michigan State University Bike Center that is run by a gentleman named Tim Potter, who's a big advocate for bicycles in mid-Michigan, and he runs a shop. He has many good bicycles, used bicycles, and he's also an expert mechanic to take a look at your bike. The maintenance of your bike is really important. We've got stories all day about riders who have gone out on the road with half the air pressure in their tire that's required, or a rusty chain, and they really don't have a good time. It's very important to maintain your bike and keep it clean and lubricated. We recommend that you go to a local bike shop with your bicycle and ask them for a tune-up right before the tour, like a week before. I would recommend, because the shops here in Lansing get really busy, and you need to have an appointment to have your tune-up done. So if you're going to do that, make sure that you make an appointment and do that. We do require helmets on our rides. There is no exception to that. That's part of our obligation to you for safety. We make sure that you have a helmet, and we won't let you ride if you do not have a helmet. We discourage the use of earbuds or headphones on the road. Now, there are some that are a bone conduction, and some people say it doesn't really interfere with my hearing of cars coming up behind me or announcements by other cyclists. But I'm skeptical. I think the safer way is to not have your ears occupied with anything other than the words from other cyclists who may be warning you of road hazards ahead. And I think that's just kind of obvious in terms of safety. We highly recommend bright tail and headlights, a good strong red tail light and a good strong white headlight is really important. I have some serious ones on my bikes that I think are very helpful. You'd be hard pressed to miss these. They're extremely bright, and I think it's important for you to have that on your bike. Michigan law does actually require that there is a white reflector on the front of your bike and a red reflector on the back. I don't know of anybody who's actually been stopped and cited for that, but that is Michigan law. It's important that you have these bright lights. Most bicycle accidents occur most often being struck from behind, and very often a car turns into your path because they didn't see you coming. That's why you have I have a very bright white flashing light on the front. Wear bright colored clothing. Of course, we design our jerseys to be bright and very noticeable. And if you've purchased a jersey for the tour, you'll have seen what that looks like. It's very nice design of that jersey, and I think that helps you be seen as well. The right kind of shorts. Now, I've run in my years of being associated with DALMAC, I've run into people who are out there riding in cut-off jean shorts. Now, let me tell you that those people are absolutely miserable after about 30 miles. You should, if you don't have them or you're not familiar with them, get a pair of good riding shorts that are padded, that have a chamois inside. And here's a secret. It's an honest statement of what's best, is you do not wear underwear underneath your bike shorts. You don't do that. You can also get some creams that will go into the shorts that will help with chafing. Because when you're on the bike for 6 to 8 hours a day, one of the major factors is the comfort of those moving parts. And you can control for that quite a bit by having the right shorts and by using a cream on there. One of the big things too is practice repairing a flat tire. Purposely let the air out of your tire to unmount the tire from the bike, take the tire off the rim and remount it and fill it. And do that a couple of times, because the most common breakdown on the road is a flat tire. Now, we have SAG vehicles who will be coming up and down the route, and you can ask them to stop to help, but the SAG drivers will not change your tire. We don't do that. It's the same thing as we don't perform first aid. We give you the tools to do it. So we'll have bicycle pumps, and you should make sure that you're carrying at least 2 tubes. If you have a bike with set up with tubes, you should have at least 2 tubes, an inflation device on your bike, and SAG drivers do have bicycle pumps in the vehicles if they're there to help you. But getting a flat tire is one of the more frustrating things that can happen on a bike ride, and I think you would be well served by having the ability to change those tires. Does DALMAC support e-bikes? Yes, we do. We allow class 1 and class 2 e-bikes, but note that our on-the-road mechanics may not have the ability to repair the e-bikes. We'll talk more about this in a future seminar, but this is important to know. We do welcome e-bikes. We think it's a wonderful way that people have been able to keep up their activity outdoors. I have an e-bike. I use it primarily for self-supported camping on trails. But if you ride one on the road, please, you're welcome. And we also in camp will have special areas to charge the e-bikes in the camp. As I mentioned earlier, carrying on your bike spare tubes, at least 2. Tire inflation, very important. Tire levers to remove that tire. A bicycle multi-tool. There's lots of options for those. A quick internet search. I have one that's got a lot of tools on it because you never know what can happen. And a rain jacket. Make sure you have a rain jacket. I also recommend having a helmet cover, which protects your head from water coming through the holes in your helmet. And that's very helpful. With a quick rain shower, you can throw on that cover for your helmet, throw on a rain jacket, and you're going to be okay to make it to the next stop or a friendly shelter along the way. There, I got ahead of myself. Helmet cover, sunscreen. Make sure you have sunscreen on board and replenish that. This is not an advertisement for my dermatologist, but I'm sure that she would appreciate this advice because it does wear off after several hours of sweating. Nutrition, take some nutrition with you. One of the ways that we've kept the cost down of DALMAC is we do not provide on-the-road food service. Some other tours that are substantially more than ours do offer nutrition, sandwiches, and all kinds of things along the route that are provided by the tour. We do not. We provide water. We provide some hydration in the form of Gatorade sleeves of stuff that you can put into your water bottle, and we'll always have water. So it's advisable for you to take like dried fruits, nuts, protein bars. Some people like mozzarella cheese sticks, which hold up actually pretty well. And of course, water, lots of water. You've got to have it. We recommend, I use a backpack, a hydration backpack for the long days. In addition, I have at least 1 or 2 water bottles on the frame of the bike. And I think that's really important because one of the things that we experience when riders begin to fade out is that they've not had enough water. You almost, if it's a warm day, you can pretty much drink water all day and still be thirsty. So make sure that you have water with you. The SAG vehicles, again, will have water. Now we do have, I mentioned that we don't provide food on the road. However, we do have a tradition of the DALMAC cookies. We purchase cookies from some first-rate bakers. They're nice, big, fresh, real stuff cookies. And we will provide 1 cookie stop per route. So there'll be a cookie stop on the 4-day, a cookie stop on the 5-day west, and a cookie stop on the 5 east. And the locations of those will be marked in your map booklet. And that will be, we have a team of cookie wranglers that will be taking care of that. And be sure and stop for a cookie. We also have a number of commercial establishments along the way that put on special events for us in terms of providing some special lunch items. And one of note on the 5 West route is the Boardman Church. They have the church folks there put on a big spread for us. They have sandwiches and pie, the amazing selection of pies and cookies. And that's a favorite stop along the way. So on the road, the day before your selected route starts, because remember we have a start on Wednesday morning for the 5-day tours, the 5 East and the 5 West. We have a Thursday start on the 4-day, and that is important to know. That's when you need to come to the pavilion and register on those dates. Now, if you've chosen a route that is on one of the trails, or the 2-day or the 3-day gravel or road or trail, that registration will begin either in Gladwin or Grayling on the night before the tour. So before that route starts. There's all this information will be communicated to you later on because I kind of fumbled that up. But there you'll get your wristband. That wristband that will go on is your ticket to everything DALMAC. That admits you to meals. It admits you to the high school buildings for showers. That it's important to have that wristband, and all riders must have one. The route map booklet, which we publish every year, that book will have lots of details in it about exactly what to expect along the road, how to navigate the various routes. There's merchandise pickup. If you've ordered the DALMAC merchandise, the jerseys, the vest, the hat, all those things, those will be available at your registration. And at that point, you'll load your baggage on the truck for your route. We have crew who will assist you with your baggage onto the truck. It is, but we ask you to help because it's a lot. We have a limit of 2 bags of no more than 45 pounds each. If you need more, if you need a 3rd bag, there is a charge for that. There's a $35 charge for an extra bag. Now, we've had some interesting experiences along the road. We were at a stop last year and someone had a hockey bag. And if you've done hockey, you know how enormous a hockey bag is. And it took 2 of us to pick up that hockey bag. That was a little crazy. I wondered if they put their cappuccino machine or something in the thing. It was crazy. On the morning of the start for your route, there's still time to register. If you're going to do one of the 2 or 3 days, you can register early that morning and get riding. And you need to then also load your bags on the truck for that day and get on your bike and ride after the sun is up. We do not want you out in the dark. That's not a good thing. So we're going to wait for sunrise. And the minute the sun peeks out and you can see clearly, you're on your way. So we have, as I mentioned, we have the rest stops along the route, and the map book will show exactly where all of those things are, and you will be able to see that. And there's lots of rest stops along the way. We work with the communities as we go north, and we have signs in the windows that say DALMAC spoken here that we give to various businesses. And we really want you to take advantage of those businesses and purchase things, purchase water or food or lunch at those businesses, because we want to keep up our relationship with them and have them continue to serve the tour as they've had for the last 50 some years. I mentioned the South Boardman Church pie and the cookies. We look forward to that. We've arranged for mobile bicycle repair services on the route and camp every night. Some of the trucks also will stop about halfway of the route for the day. And if you're needing something to do a repair, an adjustment on your bike, you'll be able to find those services. They will be marked again in the map booklet showing you where those trucks are going to be parked. They do a wonderful job. They service is priced based on what you need. They typically charge for parts, obviously, if they need to replace a derailleur or something. And if it's a minor repair, our experience has been that if it's a quick twist of a nut to tighten something up, they typically don't charge for that. But we encourage you to use these services and to make sure to pay them or tip them if they've done something for you. Further on the road, we need you to be a good bicycle citizen. We have a reputation of having really well-behaved cyclists, and we want to maintain that relationship. We do all encounter, when we're riding on the road, we encounter people who are rude or aggressive. We would encourage you to report that to law enforcement by dialing 911. That's because that's a big danger. We've had, I think, better times in the last couple of years of people being more responsible about their driving behavior. but we really want you to be a good citizen on the bike. One of the things that absolutely makes people nuts, drivers, is rolling through stop signs. I know it's very tempting. You're in the right conditions. If you're on a country road and there's nobody coming for a mile, it's probably okay to slow, take a good look, and go through. It's still against the law, mind you. So if there's a sheriff behind you, you might get a ticket. But in towns where there's stop signs, please stop and obey and behave like a car. If you may have heard it said, and it's very true, bicycles need to behave as though they're a car, because that's what other drivers expect. They want you to behave as a car. SAG services, we're not Uber. It's not a call and demand of a ride. It's really for circumstances where the rider or your machine is no longer able to function. When you need SAG services, keep watching for the SAGs to come up behind you or come toward you, because they do go back and forth on the routes. And the universal sign for SAG help is you tap the top of your helmet, and they will see that and stop to help you. We are there to assist with those mechanical issues. Each SAG vehicle has a bicycle rack on the back, and if your bike is in such a condition it can't go on, we'll ask you to load the bike onto the rack, and then you get a ride in an air-conditioned car up to the next point where you can meet up with a mechanic or a bike shop to get that taken care of. For physical issues, I mentioned it earlier, and it's important to understand, for liability reasons, we do not perform first aid. We will provide first aid material. We carry a very complete first aid kit in every SAG vehicle and in camp. So if you've fallen and had a bad scrape, you need to evaluate that for yourself, determine if it requires a visit to a hospital, or if you can patch yourself up. We've got the material to do that. Now, obviously, in the unfortunate and very rare circumstance that you're unable to do that because of a severe crash, we will call 911 for you and ask for first responders to come and take a look. As I mentioned, SAG vehicles will carry water and some nutrition in the form of that powder, the Gatorade powder, which is considered a kind of nutrition. We'll have a tire pump. You can pump up your own tire, fix and repair, and as the first aid scrapes, as I mentioned. In camp, when you arrive in camp after a beautiful day ride up the route, we are there around 3 o'clock. Though it may be later at some sites, because we have some restriction, particularly on the weekdays of the ride, where there are still students in the school, and the schools are not always happy to have people on the school grounds until the kids have left. So we shoot for 3 p.m. It could be later, but that's really the target time. The earliest time for you to target to get to the next overnight stop is 3 o'clock. The baggage trucks will be open. When you arrive, we will offload the bags onto the ground. If there's wet weather, we use large plastic sheets to put under the luggage and over the luggage to keep them dry as possible. We do need the help of riders who get in early to help us unload those baggage trucks. There will be a DALMAC pop-up shelter where you can find water and lemonade, and the camp staff will be there to answer any questions about anything related to the tour. There will be directional signs in camp showing where to camp, where the CPAP area is. We do have a designated area for CPAP that will be marked with signs indicating that, and there's signs all over the place directing you to meals and other important information while you're in camp. Typically, dinner is served from 5 to 7. There may be some variation on that. Sometimes it may be 5:30, but typically by 7, the dining is over for the evening, and there will be a writers' meeting right after dinner. We really want you to go to that writers' meeting. I know everybody's tired. You've had a meal. Kind of the last thing you want to do is sit through a meeting, but we try to keep it brief and on point discussing things like any potential road closures or route changes for the next day, or any weather issues that may come up. We really want to be quiet from 9 to 6. Having done a number of these, by 9 o'clock, I'm done. I'm in bed. That's it. And get awakened at 6 o'clock by the clatter of other folks getting up. The TCBA has a pet policy that applies to DALMAC. Only certified working animals will be allowed. No pets of any kind, no emotional support or no comfort animals, and no therapy animals. So the certified working animal has to be dedicated to a function that you cannot perform while you're on the tour. That we had sort of an open-ended policy about pets, and it got out of control because not everybody was picking up the waste, and the schools were concerned about pets in the buildings and so on. In the morning, rise and shine, we get ready to put that wet tent into your luggage, which is a pitch for the Padres Cycle In as an alternative. We have a partnership with them, and they are wonderful. They will set up your tent and take it down every day. They dry it out before they put it up again, and it's their tents. You don't have to bring a tent. They provide the tent and an air mattress. And they also have a nice shelter with salty snacks, sweet snacks, and all kinds of beverages for you if you go to and sign up for the Padres Cycle In tent camping page that's on the DALMAC.org page. You can go look at that. Breakfast 6:30 to 8. Generally, they have coffee going a little bit before that. We ask the locations to get coffee going, but breakfast generally begins at 6, ends at 8, and we try to have some really good hearty breakfast items. And that's the food, as you can imagine, is a challenge, and we can discuss more about that. The baggage trucks will open at 7 a.m. Pardon me, and we would ask you to again help put your bags onto the truck. Now, if you're with Padres, you simply leave your bags outside the tent that they've provided, and it magically appears at your tent that night later on. So I haven't done my own tent camping for 10 years, 12 years. I always use the tent service. Top off your water, fill up your tires, and hit the road after sunrise. We do provide in camp, we have water horses that we hook up to the school's water supply. And we also, as that's filtered water, we use water filters on that, so you can fill up your water bottles or your backpacks. The DALMAC crew will finish up at the site, and the baggage truck will be on the way by 9 o'clock. So that's pretty much your deadline to get out of there. Some people who are fast riders, they hang around, have a second cup of coffee, whatever, but we're leaving that site at 9. And we hope you have a wonderful day then for that day and onward. So on the last day, you've made it to Mackinac City. That's amazing. That's a long way to ride, and it's a goal that I know many have. The baggage will be spread out on the ground and arranged by routes. So, because all of the routes, the 4-day, the 5-day west, the 5-day east, all of them come to Mackinac City. So it's quite an interesting thing to observe. We have all these riders and all these bags, but we do a really good job of providing signage that says, in this spot, you'll find the 5 west bags. And that will be where you will go and look for your bag if you're on that route. We have arrangements with the Mackinac City schools. There's a fundraiser for the school, and they have food at the gymnasium. There's an entrance near the parking lot. You can go in there and grab something to eat. The last day is typically fairly short, so a lot of riders get in early. There's enough time if you get in early to ride into the city and take a look around in Mackinac City. There's also some good food there as well. There will be 3 bus departures from Mackinac City if you signed up for the bus. The departure for the East Lansing departs at 3 p.m. sharp. The trucks will be loaded with your bikes before 2 p.m. So 1 hour before the departure of 3 o'clock, 2 p.m., you must have your bike on the truck for transportation back to East Lansing. There's a second departure for East Lansing at 6 o'clock, same thing, 1 hour before 5 o'clock. And the departure for Grayling and Gladwin, 4:30, and the trucks have to be loaded with your bikes by 3:30. So we really have to stick to these times. We have had some people have a circumstance where they couldn't make it. There was some problem. We have very limited flexibility on switching from one bus to another for East Lansing. So if that occurs, we will do our very best to take care of you. We do have people going back to East Lansing that night, and we will do our best. But don't count on it, because the bus is your primary transportation. One thing I didn't put on the slide, we have parking at Mackinac City High School for those who choose to drive a car up there and place it there and then meet up with your car at the end. We do have parking available, and that is a good thing if you want to do it that way. We also have a photographer who will take your picture, not exactly on the bridge, but a very nice photograph with the Mackinac Bridge in the background, and you can hold up your bike or whatever you want to do. There will be DALMAC crew members wearing pink baseball caps, and those pink caps are your sign that that's a DALMAC expert who can answer anything and help you solve any problems you have as you conclude your ride. Okay, that somehow is oh, I'm going the wrong direction. I've done this enough, you'd think I'd know the right way. Okay, so again, I want to ask you to make sure to visit dalmac.org, where you're going to find all kinds of information. I'm going to navigate to the site right now and show you what that looks like, so that you can see what the site looks like and what kind of information is there. And then I'm going to open it up for any questions you might have. So we'll go here to DALMAC. Stop that share. In my my life right before retirement, it was the pandemic, and I spent hours on doing presentations on Zoom. I just realized that sun is in my face. You can tell I face west. Okay, that's better. So no, that's not. It's dalmac.org. You'd think I'd be smarter than that. Okay. So this is the website. I would encourage you to go visit this website. It is really an important, let me see, I got to share it first. Okay. So this website gives you all the information you could possibly want to know about. We have the webinar recordings here. So if you want to instruct somebody else, you want to come back and review this later, you can view them on there. And here we have, of course, all the information about rates and services. I did want to point out, as an example, for the 5-day West, you can see here we have the ability to download the actual map booklet. If you're interested in seeing what that looks like, you can download it. I would give you the advice, though, that that is tentative. I mean, because we're still possibly going to have some changes to that. So this is where I think you'll find all the information that you want on the dalmac.org website. And with that, I'm going to open it up for any questions you might have. Just unmute yourself and ask away. I didn't do that good of a job.
Hey, Dan, this is Don.
Hi.
Hey, just a quick question. I have ridden the DALMAC several times. Any chance that we will ever get back to crossing the bridge and ending in St. Ignace? Or is
No.
this pretty much the standard now?
No. I happen to have an acquaintance in the state legislature, and I asked that person to and make an inquiry with the Bridge Authority and others to see if there was a possibility that we could get this back, since this is an iconic Michigan thing, right? This crossing of the bridge, the DALMAC tour, 53 years, and the answer came back, no, they will not consider it.
Okay.
I wish we would.
Yeah, I wish they would too. I really enjoyed that. That was really the epic ride across that bridge was really gratifying, and I'm sorry that we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, me too. I really tried. That was one of my goals when I took over, to see if I could get that done, and it just wasn't going to happen. Any other questions?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Two questions. One is with the Padre tenting. Is there what since you use that service? What's the inside like for being able to hang up like wet towels and have them dry for you before you leave the next morning?
They provide towels. You don't have to worry about that. They provide, I was skeptical at first, but they provide a throwaway towel, which is a large, highly absorbent piece of paper that's strong. It's got fibers in it. And you get a couple of those when you head to the shower. They work great, and you dry yourself off and throw them in the trash.
Okay, great. Second question. My son and I are going to ride this year together. And he's riding back with you on the 5-day West, and I'm staying in Mackinac City. Since he'll be riding back with you, can he load my bike onto your truck and take it back to East Lansing?
Yes, he can. How old is he?
He's 40.
Okay. Yes, that's fine. No
Okay.
problem.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey, Dan, this is Bill.
Yeah,
and I was
Bill.
just wondering, this is my first year with Padres, and on a pre-registration day, do we just give our bags to Padre, or do we just go ahead and load them on the trucks ourselves?
You give them to Padre. So at the pavilion, when you check in for the tour, Padre will have a camp, and you could camp with them the night before the tour if you want. So they have tents set up in the MSU campgrounds that are just west of the pavilion, and all of their equipment will be there, and you drive right over there, drop your bags, stay the night with them if you want. Once you drop your bags with Padres, you don't have to touch them again until the school the night before the end. So like what route are you on, 5?
5, this year 5 East.
Okay, so the last night on 5 East will be at Inland Lake Schools, and Padres the morning of Sunday morning when you're getting ready to leave, Padre will give you your bags. Now, in some cases, if they have the staff, they will load the bags for you on the luggage truck, so it makes it to Mackinac City.
Thank you.
Yep. Other questions? All right. Going once? Going twice? All right. Well, thank you for attending this evening. We will be posting the next 24 hours. I will post the recording of this webinar so that if you want to go back and look at it, you can do that. And thank you for being a DALMAC writer. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. The email address is director@dalmac.org, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. thank you very much. Have a great time riding your bike up until we launch the DALMAC. We'll talk to you later.